If you're 21 years or older, you might have already lived out half your life. There's a theory in psychology that if you view the length of your life in terms of how it felt experientially, then half your life is over. And so, what do I mean when I say experiential length? Experiential length is your subjective perception of the temporal nature of an experience. It's not just how long something is, it's how long something felt. It's why 4 hours on your bed, doom scrolling, can go by like this without you realizing. But each day when you're hiking or traveling in Japan for the first time, that day feels really, really, really long. And so we can all come to this base conclusion that there is a subjective element to time. That if time, practically and functionally for us, is how we experience it, then every minute and every hour and every day is not made equally. One day on vacation probably feels, in terms of how you experience it, as long as 4 days in your mundane daily routine. And so it's argued that as time passes, as you go from a 10-year-old to a 20-year-old, 23-year-old, 25-year-old, then, or non, as you grow older, fairly universally, the subjective experience, again, the subjective experience of the passage of time accelerates. To you, to your brain, in the context of your lived reality, time is literally going by faster, even though an hour is an hour, or a day is a day. And so, if you do the math based on this understanding of the temporal perception of time, if you do the math on how long each experienced hour is, by age 21, you've already lived out half your life. Age 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, half your life is over because 50% of the time that you will feel to have passed has passed already. Remember, every hour and every day, in terms of how you experience it, is not created equally. So the math for that is that the length that you felt as a kid, as a 7-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, for how long a day was and how you perceived it, is probably equal to like 4 days. And that's how the math pans out. And the conclusion and takeaway from that is that we're all fucking running out of time. Why is it that as a kid, every day felt so much longer? Why is it that now, every year, every month you reminisce, you're like, fuck, that week, that month, that year flew by without me realizing? Why is it that this gap emerges? The one word answer, even though there's no nuances to it, is novelty. One element of novelty is brain neuroplasticity. So, the younger you are, the more neuroplastic your brain is. That means the more capable your brain's neurons and its networks are to altering and amending and being subjected to new experiences, new skills, new learnings, new things. So your brain is literally, the younger you are, especially as a kid, primed to be experiencing novel things and actually registering them in your psyche and nervous system. That's part one. And B, because as a kid, you were constantly doing new things. Everything was a new experience. When you're a 4-year-old, walking is a new experience. When you're a 7-year-old, eating medicine is a new experience. The act of becoming a functioning human being is a new experience. And all these new experiences mean there is constant novelty on both layers. Through novelty and the challenge of new things done and experienced, that's what made time slow down. And so the case then to me is that you need to keep your brain and your nervous system as neuroplastic as possible, which is done through the reps of doing new things. And then you actually need to be doing new things on a daily basis. So in the moment, you start to feel again like time has slowed down. It's doing the opposite of routine maxing. It's doing the opposite of constant, predictable stability. It's introducing new variables. It's introducing uncertainty. That is how you elongate and stretch out to maximize your subjective perception of your time spent on this planet. And so the lesson there on some level is fuck around and find out. Chase novelty, do things, find new experiences. Life is lived and experienced on the edge and on the border of what is known and what is unknown. It's maximized in the valley and universe of uncertainty and not the plateau of what is known and already repeatedly experienced. And that then, novelty, is how you experience a life of bang for your buck, money adjustment, or a life that feels like you have lived it for long.